What's the crack? You already know
to put out, but he has not.
Here's Brown to the 5. Brown to the goal line. Touchdown! A potential BCS buster busted.
Yeah. Icy cold. It is so icy cold. Yeah. Mixing the water with cheese is making the money get mold. Yeah. Trying to be like gang, you better go get it in vogue. Yeah. Put 84s on lanes, I rob how you think it is spokes. We did it, we said it, we spoke. Yeah. We put it out, thought it was smoke. This 504. This is at home, right down the street from Alamo. Yeah. Parked the days in and taking no days in. Yeah. Don't need a vacation, I need a replacement. Busting the lights out soon as we came in. What are they talking about? What is pertaining? Yeah. Need me a therapist to ask if I'm aging. Is it me? Do you feel caved in? Why am my demons invading? I live here, no hesitating. They fighting the cadence. Go out their way, it's okay. Cause like the Joe's at the basement. I gotta get with my face in it. Yeah. Icy cold, it is so icy cold. Yeah. Mixing the water with cheese is making the money get mold. Yeah. Trying to be like gang, you better go get it in vogue. Yeah. Put 84s on lanes, I rob how you think it is spokes. We did it, we said it, we spoke. Yeah. We put it out, thought it was smoke. This 504. This is at home, right down the street from Alamo.
Open his eyes, don't mean it moving slow, even though you speak out. Sprinkling methamphetamines on the leaves like the snow. That they soak. I'm a new species that swings on the road. Trying to reach yellow boat. Got springs like a toe. Suffer free in the toe. Suck it drown like brown, white diamond. Happy sound, Mike got 2 wings. Landing down when caught 2 wings. Time to scrape at the stage, 2 wings. Better pray 2 wings.
He does not do anything for my confidence in Arizona State.
Gotta let Rudy Carpenter throw the ball. Big hit by Nate Irving, and then he flips over Dwayne Harris back at the 15-yard line.
Oh, man. It is about that time, y'all. We are ready. We are hype. First of all, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. And again, enjoying this amazing time of year here for sure. But again, we're excited here today to be with you guys once again and talk all things NC State. So, but anyway, as always, you got myself, Layden Smith, Greg Legg, Carson here with us. Michael is going to be a few minutes late, but he'll be joining us here momentarily as well. But if you've been with us for, you know the drill, make sure any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, make sure to throw them in the chat, and we will get to all of them here today. But first and foremost, Greg, got to talk a little bit about your caption there, man. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. So I want to jump right to it real quick, and then we'll talk some ECU Military Bowl stuff here a little bit. But give us a lowdown, man. Is the Kansas basketball life as advertised?
Yes, and then some.
Really,
it was legit. I know Carson's dad Buzzy was there, and I'm sure Carson got the rundown probably the last couple of days too. It's what I would love NC State to be like. I know we're not a quote unquote blue blood, and we don't have some of the traditions and the legacies that Kansas has, but they're a first class. They do it right. The field house is super old. It reminds, if you've ever watched the movie Hoosiers, it reminds me of the last scene when they play on the state championship game. The atmosphere of the building reminds me of that. The things, first off, if you're a fan of basketball, the rules of basketball are literally in the building. If you ever saw the 30 for 30, there's no place like home. That documented the getting the rules that Dr. James Naismith, who the court is named after, they have the original copy of the basketball rules, and they have a whole room dedicated to it. And on the outside of the building, they have the scripture of the rules. And so on both sides of that, that's the room that houses the rules. And they have a really nice Hall of Fame there. They've got a lot of money. And so when you have lots of money, you can have lots of nice shiny toys. They have suites there that aren't even have a view of the basketball court. Like they just have rooms that are suites that you can buy or donate money to, and you can't even watch the game. You just go hang out there. They put a lot of money and effort into basketball. They're doing it for football too. They have a $450 million renovation of their football stadium going on right now. And this was after they just put in $50 million at the field house. Yeah. It's an experience.
Yeah. Good. And did you enjoy your time in Kansas outside of going to the basketball game?
Yeah, I had, by the way, Kansas barbecue. No, North Carolina barbecue is still where it's at.
All right.
It's cute. You guys do a nice little job with your barbecue. It's nice. No, it's fine. Like North Carolina is all about the pork. North Carolina pork barbecue, and they're more about the beef. And so, where your allegiance lies is probably where you're gonna like it more. I just like North Carolina barbecue, man. It's way better than Kansas barbecue. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it, but it's just different.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. No, we'll definitely we'll talk a little bit more about the basketball game here in a minute. But real quick here, I wanted to get because we're hyped for sure. We're hyped, but about this Military Bowl game versus ECU here. But always love to see whenever Salty Dave decides to come out of his cave and show him his face. And we got a glimpse of that here today. So let's check it out here. What I'm talking about.
And thankful that you get to do it in our stadium. I do like your stadium too. I'm 3 in a row winning over there.
So good. It's so good.
Oh man. And just to give the context too, on the left there, Greg, I'm forgetting his name, but do you know his name? The guy that Doran pointed.
I don't know. I'm guessing. I mean, he's definitely someone from Carolina. Maybe an associate AD or something like that. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, is it not? It's not Bubba. Like
No, that's definitely not Bubba. That's definitely not Bubba Cunningham.
Yeah. Carson, you have any clue?
No.
Nope. Well, either way, I mean, you don't have to read between the lines to know at the end of the day, what point was being made here for sure. Now, again, I want to make it very clear that I would love to have more victories outside of, just holding the fact that we're beating UNC, such as AC championship would be nice to, rub in the face of some other people as well. But, and again, because like it's kind of crazy, but think about where we were 15 years ago. I don't think we ever really talk about this, but, Greg and Carson, I mean, 15 years ago, with O'Brien, if we made it to a bowl game and beat UNC, I mean, that was considered a success for O'Brien. And now here we are, and I guess the bar has significantly increased. So I don't know. I mean, like, do you think that that's just has a lot to do with the drought, Carson? Do you think a lot of that has to do with the drought, with how long it's been since we've won an ACC championship in football, that now state fans have, kind of risen up from their ways of just expecting us to beat UNC in a bowl game every year to now actually competing for and winning an ACC title?
No, I think it's Doran. If you look at like even 10 years ago in Doran's first few years, I mean, we would lose to Boston College at home, and the mindset of the fan base would be like, okay, we lost to Boston College, we'll get them next week. Oh, we lost to Georgia Tech, okay, we'll get them next week. And now it's like, okay, we won 6 games. This is an awful season. That's the attitude of a lot of state fans, at least. 6 wins and barely beating Carolina is like completely unacceptable. It's not even bare minimum. It's just unacceptable at this point.
Yeah, it's a good mindset. Yeah, good analysis. Michael, what up, man?
What's up?
What's up? Hey, man, just wanted to, hey, you know what? Why not? Since Michael's here, we'll play it again because it's so much fun. So
This is a great place to play, and I know our grounds guys are as good as it gets.
Well,
And thankful that you get to do it in our stadium. I do like your stadium too. I'm 3 in a row winning over there.
yeah, whoops. It was still playing the rest of the clip, so that's what happened there. But yeah,
look at that freeze frame. It's just like
like I see it. I mean, It's good. So I mean, Michael, but see, watching that, like, does making clips like that, do you feel like that as state fans, like seeing the salty Dave, like, it's got to, just seeing stuff like that, it's like, like kind of like when you have a kid and they mess up really bad, but then they give you like the little cute smiley face, and it's like, oh yeah, you're right, I do love you. Like then they like when Doran pulls out salty Dave, you're like, yeah, you're right, you're great. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. People like Salty Dave when he's not talking about the fans.
True. Yeah, good point. Very good point. But
the other thing I was just thinking about real quick, you were talking, about Tom O'Brien years. We haven't really had a season like this since 2019, and we were just ravaged by injuries.
Mhm.
And you can kind of make some similar comparisons to this year as far as the injury front, because if you think about it, you lost your quarterback and you lost your middle linebacker, so the two dudes that call all the make all the calls, you lost them, and even with that being said, we made a bowl game.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a silver lining there. I mean, this wasn't all on the injury front, but
No.
if you have Caden Fordham and you have Grayson McCall, you're probably going to win at least two additional games that you lost, and that definitely changes the narrative from an 6-6 to an 8-4, and then you're right on par with your typical year.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I guess you could say Caden Fordham, but I was thinking like
even without those guys.
No, you're right. I'm just saying like even without those guys, like if the defense just gets a stop in the wake in the Georgia Tech games, we win those games even without those guys. But Fordham.
And if we don't turn the ball over against Syracuse.
Right. Yeah. It was a lot.
Wake, Syracuse, and Georgia Tech. If just a 2 or 3 plays went our way, we would be 9-3 right now. And
yeah.
Of course, again, that
was a lot of self-inflicted stuff.
Yeah. Like, for example, I mean, what was it, 3 years ago, if Jordan Travis and FSU weren't idiots and didn't throw a fade against us, and we would have lost, at home, in like that was the most idiotic play call I've ever seen in my life. But hey,
you were in field goal range, all you had to do was kick the field goal to win.
And you threw a fade.
Well, and that was the game too. We didn't even score a touchdown in like the second half, and because that was when we had to replace Leary.
Leary got hurt. Yeah.
No.
It wasn't Morris, was it? It was the other kid. Wasn't it the transfer?
Jack Chambers.
Chambers.
Yeah. Jordan Travis completed more passes to NC State players than Jack Chambers did in that game.
Yes, that's a true statement.
NC State won.
That's a true
statement.
Yeah.
That's a really good one, Carson.
That's a sad but true comment there. Again, I could now all of a sudden, Mike Norvell went from being, almost locked and loaded a top 2 or 3 coach in the ACC to now this coming year. I mean, he better make some progress.
He's giving money back.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you see he gave away $4 million back to the program?
You should.
I think that's going to be the norm, honestly.
Yeah.
I think, because you saw Brian Kelly do it with LSU. You saw Gundy with the ultimatum, and now Norvell. I feel like this is going to be, it's going to be an all hands, everyone has to contribute type deal. Yeah. And I don't think these coaches are going to make as much money. And
obviously no one likes to give up money, but when you're getting paid that much, I think a lot of these coaches would rather, they like winning too, to keep that job. So I think some of them will be willing to give up some of that salary to put it back into their roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it. He's still, I don't know, this isn't a Florida State podcast, but he signed like an $80 million extension. Right. And so $4 million, like how much do you really need?
That's nothing. Yeah.
I mean,
that's nothing.
How much do you need?
Well, and again, just unfortunately for for Mike Norvell right now, to me, this is like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick a little bit, but like on drugs. Like it was like, okay, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that 2 years ago was because of Jordan Travis. Like, period, straightforward, no doubt about it. Like that's literally all it was. So yeah, it really kind of pulled the pants down on the Mike Norvell as a great football coach narrative. So, but one other thing as well too, which I this was kind of like a behind the scenes thing. I don't know if you guys saw this news for you now. So let me know in the chat if y'all heard this. Did y'all know that Bill Belichick signed with UNC? Like, I mean, I know they're not really talking about it anywhere.
Never.
Nobody's
there's no
talking
networks
about
are talking about it. There's no podcasts, major ESPN podcasts.
They're not talking about it on NFL Today.
Yeah, no, they're not talking about it anywhere. Like, it's just so quiet, and nobody would ever have known it.
It flew under the radar.
And like I can scroll through my phone all day long and not see any notifications about, oh my gosh, Bill Belichick took a poop today. Like I mean, seriously though, it's so annoying. I'm like, oh my god.
But in fairness, think about all the free advertising they're getting right now. I mean, they're getting free airtime on.
Oh, UNC is great,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Once again, they've won the offseason. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. Well, and see, I truly do feel like from talking to people that either people think that this is like the biggest home run hire in the history of sports, or this is the biggest what the heck are you doing move.
It's very split, yeah.
Well, UNC gets their favorite thing right now. They get publicity and attention. That is their favorite thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and I mean, and I just want to make it clear because this is something that I thought was very interesting. But on June 2nd, 2025, he is legally allowed to walk away from the contract without any repercussions whatsoever. Just walk away.
Yeah,
on June 2nd,
I think it was.
It's $1 million. I thought it.
Yeah, it drops from 10 million to 1 million.
Yeah.
So it's still, but that's basically nothing for Bill Belichick.
Right, but I'm saying he gets like he doesn't.
Right.
There's like he's not.
It's essentially a 1-year deal.
It's essentially a 1-year deal, but not even. Like again, I mean, it's June 2nd. Like it's 6 months from now.
Not show up. Yeah.
You could just not show up for the first game. And it was very. And it was very clearly argued by Bill Belichick and his legal staff to make sure that piece was added in there. So go ahead, Greg.
No, I heard that some of the hang up was that they were just making sure that his girlfriend had a room in the dorm. That was one of the hang ups.
Of course.
Yeah. Free room and board. So
Yep. No. Yeah. It's just again.
And apparently his grandkids could go to school there too.
Well, and see, like I've had so many UNC fans come up to me be like, bro, like he's gonna go into these recruits' houses and they're gonna sign immediately because it's Bill Belichick, right? Like he is guaranteed to get him to the NFL.
Have you seen those YouTube videos of like Tom Brady and Julian Edelman talking about that? It's so funny.
No, recently.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because Tom Brady
he got roasted.
Yeah, Tom Brady gave an impression of what Bill Belichick would be like recruiting. He's just like, okay, we're gonna bring you over to this program. Maybe we can have a seat for you, maybe not. We'll just see what if you can fit in.
Well, and again, like, and I of course this got into arguments about Bill Belichick as a coach and where he stands all the time. But all I'm saying is outside of Tom Brady, he has a losing record. That's all I'm saying. Outside Tom Brady, he only had one playoff win. I'm just saying, but so again, I'm not.
Rumor was Brady was on campus last week looking for an offensive coordinator job.
No, he wasn't.
No, it's a joke.
I was gonna say, I was like, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. Like,
it's kind of believable at this point.
He's that petty. He's that petty. No, I mean, yeah. I pretty much said unless Tom Brady is walking through the door to play quarterback, or there's a guy named Bomb Trady coming in that's transferring in. I'm not buying it.
Well, the other rumor I heard was that for the D coordinator, they were looking at Eli Manning.
Yeah, you're funny. Oh yeah, the kryptonite.
No,
yeah.
That's who we should be looking at for D.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for our D coordinator. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, that's genius. Oh my gosh, dude.
Sorry, I thought the other part was implied. My mistake.
If that's not a tweet already, we claim rights to it. We need to put that out. That is a genius tweet idea there, Greg. But yeah, Hunter's saying Tom is making $30 million per year at Fox.
And he owns part of the Raiders. He's not leaving that game.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
But yeah, no, Hunter's saying, again, he may literally not coach a single game at UNC. Like, again, like that's my thing is basically UNC's being carried around like the used used toilets, used toilet brush, like just being carried around, and they're completely okay with it, that they're willing to risk it. They're willing to risk the biscuit, that they could look like absolute idiots 6 months from now, but
it's a heck of an investment. I mean, regardless of how, whatever
$10
you
million.
think of, no, it's more than that. it's more than that because
Really?
that's just the salary for Belichick. You still have another 10 million for NIL and all of that. And so they're putting in over $20 million in this thing. So that's a heck of an investment for a school that has not put that much emphasis on football in a long time.
You know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of? Let's walk back about 6 years in the past where we beat Carolina on their home field. They fight us after the game. They fire their head coach, and then they hire a 70-year-old. Deja vu.
Wait. So are you saying that we just beat them on their home field, and then they hired another 70-year-old? Is that what you're saying, Carson?
Yeah.
So rinse and repeat. That's the Carolina way.
Yeah. Mac Brown 3.0.
Dude, you literally got rid of the oldest coach and replaced him with the oldest coach.
Another old coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a year younger.
But they stole the college's oldest coach. So Mac was the oldest coach, and then they replaced him with the new oldest coach.
Yep. What? So again, this isn't a UNC podcast. I get it for sure, but
it made headlines.
Still saying,
$20 million is a lot to go 6-6.
But and that number
we do it for half of that. So we're by proxy we're way better.
And that number, is also going to includes revenue sharing.
Yes.
So that's the same for every school next year. So like it's a big number right now, but I mean, State's going to be, probably won't be at 20 million, but they'll be close. They'll be in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what else? You know what else this reminds me of? This reminds me of a school called Texas A&M. Do you know how rich Texas A&M is? You know how much money they were throwing out at Jimbo Fisher? Did Jimbo Fisher even scratch an SEC championship?
Nope.
I think they paid him $60 million to go away. If I remember correctly.
Literally $60 million to not coach.
Just go home.
I know.
And to go 8-4 again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I love Elko. Like, I mean, I think he's gonna be good for Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But he went the same record as like you just said, Michael, as Jimbo Fisher, and so you're still paying the old guy, and then you got to pay the new guy. It's just cycle where they can't get out of their own way. Look, honestly though, I mean, shoot, I would love to have that kind of money, like. Not to go to 8-4 necessarily, but I feel like if we had those resources,
not work.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I think if we had those resources and it being the ACC, there's no way we go 8-4. Yeah, there's no way we go 8-4.
Yeah, we'd smoke it. Yeah. There's a reason why Jimbo Fisher did not coach football last year, and there's a reason why we have not heard any news of, hey, Jimbo Fisher got hired by so and so, because he would literally be doing it for free, basically, because basically Texas A&M would only be entitled for the difference between what he would be getting paid and what Texas A&M owes him. So I mean, basically he'd be doing it for free. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad for him a little bit, because I mean, obviously if he wants to coach football, then he's going to have to do it purely, there's no value that he would be gaining in his pocket by coaching. You see what I'm saying? Like, he'd be making the same amount of money no matter what. But anyway, it's craziness right now. So I want to talk a little bit of ECU though, as it's still crazy to me, y'all, that just over 2.5 years ago, we went through one of the weirdest games in the history of my recent NC State fandom, that's for sure. But then 4 years before that, we went through one of the greatest games, I think, in one of my NC State fanhood, where we smacked ECU all over the daggone field. I mean, it was basically Pee-wee football versus the 84 Bears. Like, it wasn't even close.
The 86 Bears.
86 Bears, sorry.
85 Bears. 85.
Mid-80s Bears. Anyway, but like, it wasn't
any
even
Bears
close.
team from the 80s.
True story.
True story. True story. # facts. But I want to kind of ask you, Greg, because I know that
because I'm old and I remember the 80s. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. No, because you and me both, when during the highlight video, when they showed Nate Irving do the suplex in the 2008 game, by Nate Irving. I mean, that brings a smile to everybody's face for sure. It's definitely one of my favorite plays of all time for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite game versus ECU?
Yeah, I just think because of just being I was there and it's recent was the big Bradbury game. I call it the Bradbury game. I don't know what you even call that game, just because there was so much that dominance in that game. Yep. That would have been the 19 game. Is that right?
18
game. 18.
Yeah.
End of 18 because it was December.
Correct.
Yeah, that was probably the game that really, just because we were just up and down the field all day. We really wore them out.
Yep.
Yeah, that, and I don't know how we were able to get on the field at halftime. Someone from the Wolfpack Club was like, "Hey, like we're gonna have a bunch of people go down to the field and welcome the team back on the field," and so I got to go down there, and you could just see like every guy on the team, they were just grinning as they were running back out on the field after halftime because they were just having so much fun.
It could have been so much worse.
Them. Yeah, it really could have.
I mean, Kelvin Harmon, I think after he caught his touchdown, he basically, I don't even know if he really played much really after that.
No, he played a lot of secondary. That was the game where he made that spectacular catch in the end zone, or that diving catch.
Yeah, the dive catch.
Yeah,
that was his. And that was his last significant play as wearing an in-state uniform. Yeah. But yeah, no, it could have been way worse. So yeah, I mean, Carson, it's kind of funny though, because as much as I would love to hold on to the fact that 2022 was the first time we beaten ECU in Greenville since 2007. Again, it was just such a disgusting game that I don't even feel right even claiming it. It's just it was disgusting. I get it. Win's a win. I get it. A win's a win. But man, that was like the most like a win's a win kind of question mark.
I say it was less us winning and more ECU losing.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man?
More like ECU's kicker losing the game. It was ECU's kicker losing the game.
Yeah. No, I really felt for him after that game because I knew he was going to be hearing it all day long and twice on Tuesday. So yeah.
I will say the one that. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Well, that one gave us me and Macon were doing a live stream for that one, and
that's right. The epic moment. That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good reaction.
I like that one just because it gave us that reaction.
Well, because Michael, it's funny too about that reaction because like I feel like every single time, Michael, that we've done a watch party, for some reason you've always been a couple seconds ahead. The reason why I know that is because another great moment that we've had was in the Elite Eight women's basketball versus UConn, where Jakia Brown-Turner hit the 3-pointer, and you literally were looking at the camera like starting to put your arms up,
reacting slowly,
and waiting for Mike and I to see it. So
the ECU, I tried to hold that one in, the ECU one where he missed the kick. I think I ruined it for Macon, but I think he was okay with that.
He'll take it. He'll take it on the chin. But yeah, no. Chilton saying we've been there. 2016 Clemson.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's fair.
We get it. So
I think for you guys, you probably would say when we lost to ECU in, I can't remember what game it was. It was Dorn. What year was that? 20.
Well, we lost twice to ECU. We lost 2013 and 2016. One at State, one at ECU.
Yeah, the one we lost at ECU was the one that we really shouldn't have lost.
That was disgusting. Pissed me off.
But you guys, so go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying because that was my senior year, so I was doing the personnel cars on the sidelines for that game. And first of all, it was stupid hot for that game. Shocker for Greenville, North Carolina, in early. It was actually that's not right. Oh yeah. Early September. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at all the game logs here. Yeah, early September. But I mean, like, that was the game where I really started to see what Scotty Montgomery is all about, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's all about himself." Shocker. Okay, well, we're gonna correct that real quickly, and then in 2018, we had an opportunity him coming to Raleigh, and we could have beat the absolute pants off him and made him pay for after doing all those antics after the game with the staying in the middle of the sideline and throwing the X up to the crowd, all like that. And we could have paid that right back. But ECU said, we're going to go ahead and just take the loss and move along here. Yeah, that would have been so sweet if we could have paid him back for that. But yeah, no, 2016 was the biggest, especially when you saw what ECU did after that game.
Yeah.
You're like, man, we should not have lost.
But that's not even the worst loss we ever had against ECU. So you guys
2013 was embarrassing.
No, worse than that. It was actually a postseason game, the 1992 Peach Bowl. When we had, I know you guys are too young for that. I know. That was when the Peach Bowl was played at the old Atlanta Braves Stadium, Atlanta Fulton County. That was before they even started playing in the Georgia Dome. And by the way, ECU for you youngins, they were actually an independent back then. They weren't even in a conference. Mm-hmm. And so we were up 34-17 in the fourth quarter and lost at the very end on a Jeff Blake mini Hail Mary, if you will, and ended up losing that game. And they came in that game 9-1, and they were ranked better than we were. They were 12th or 13th, I think, in the country that year. So that was probably the most agonizing defeat from an NC State perspective. Yeah.
Michelle saying it was awful. We blew it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that is there really a moment in ECU football history that ECU fans love to bring up more than that Peach Bowl win? I think that's 83. That's 83 men's basketball for State fans, I would say.
Probably so. Well, I saw this one guy goes, he's an ECU fan, and I think, we always say, that we're their Super Bowl. And he goes, well, if that's the case, we've been to 7 Super Bowls. I'm like, geez, that is the dumbest analogy ever.
No. But again, it's so funny because once again, we host ECU to start the season next year. So, but I do want to ask though, because one piece of news, which, we'll get into, the tweets of the week here, but this isn't really a tweet, is it was kind of happened off the scenes mostly, but the announcements of signings of guys like Wesley Grimes, pretty much everybody that was up in the air is pretty much signed. I mean, is there anybody that I think that's pretty much all the guys that we were waiting on, right?
Of the quote unquote names, right?
Of the names, right?
Yeah, of the significant starters. I mean, you had the rest of them kind of fall in place, like yesterday and today with Noonkester and Vineset. You saw those announcements come out today.
Yep.
But yeah, I think really the Jolie one, and then I think there was one other one around Jolie that wasn't quite as big as Jolie, but was it Raphael? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Anthony Carter, right?
Anthony Carter. He was a little bit more than a couple days ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Peak was the big one on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jolie kind of wrapped it up, put the bow on it, and then, like I said, the special teams guys were kind of yesterday and today.
Yep. So I mean, but once again, Michael, I want to revisit this that we were laughing and hooing and hawing, last week and saying, man, State's only favored by 5.5. Like, what are we doing here? For sure, that's gonna correct, especially once it comes out of, all of our guys that are signing that, will play in the bowl game. But it actually went from 5.5 to 5. It actually went a little bit ECU's way, man.
Just probably a betting line.
Yeah, I mean, this early, it's still 2 weeks to the game. There's not a lot of movement on it yet. We'll see what it gets to. But
yeah, but
I am still curious about the opt-outs as far as the upperclassmen. That's really what I'm waiting for.
And that's probably part of the reason too.
Yeah, there's probably about four significant ones I'm thinking of. There might be more if you guys have them, but
I was gonna say, because I mean, it's Davin Van, Anthony Belton, Z Correll.
Yeah.
And who else did you think of?
Aiden White?
Yeah. Aiden, and then the other offensive lineman.
McKay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, again, wouldn't be surprised by anything. At the end of the day, like a guy like Tim McKay, for example, I'm like, why wouldn't you? But, hey, I don't know. We'll see. Same thing with Aiden White. Like Aiden White, you need every single piece you can get, my man. Love you, mean it, appreciate it, but man, it's been a rough year for you, my man. But I know you would agree with that as well. So, And even Preacher Man bringing a little bit of baseball. I know Greg loves that. It was sad we only play ECU twice in baseball this year.
Yeah, that's always been a thing. We always just do a home and away. A series would be nice just so you can get a true. And the problem that, and along with that, we only play them twice. It's a midweek game. We don't always put our stock into those games, much unlike they kind of go all in. Not to say we don't try to win the game, but for us, conference play, it just felt like last year, especially conference, we didn't. I don't know, like especially the ECU one. I think we went like back-to-back home runs. We might even gone back-to-back home runs. I'm trying to.
Yeah, that was 3. I think it was.
It was 3. Yeah, it was
Amac and Pennington.
And Pennington. Yeah, I thought it was all 3 of those guys.
We still lost.
We still lost. Yeah. But we went through a lot of pitchers. We had a lot of pitching issues last year for midweek games, but they went all in on those. And of course, they're gonna say, well, we beat you 2-0, but at the end of the day, we advanced further. Yeah,
they didn't even make it out of their own region.
You lost to a 4 seed. You lost
to the 4 seed, not even like the 2 seed, who's a good team.
I mean,
the 4 seed.
They were hosting the I remember who they lost to, but does anyone else remember who they lost to?
Evansville, right?
Evanston.
Oh, Evansville.
Yeah.
Evansville. Michael's
See,
right.
we knew.
Evansville.
Nobody even knows.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember the Bill part. What you said it. Yeah. Just because,
it was Evans, but I thought it was Evanston. But yeah.
Either way, they're that insignificant.
It's the Purple Aces. I do remember that much of
the Purple Aces. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yep. But still, I mean, right? Like it wasn't like it wasn't the. I think they were the 4 seed that actually advanced.
Yeah. Lions, Tigers, and Bears, and Purple Aces. Yeah.
But anyway, I do kind of like in the other sport. Like we don't even really play them in basketball at all.
No, I can't remember the last time we played ECU in basketball.
Why would we?
But that's my point. That's my point. Like they're just not
worth our time.
Yeah, I don't know if we even played them in the other sports, to be honest with you.
Bro, they're like
soccer.
I'm curious.
We played them in soccer. We got their soccer coach.
Yeah.
For women's.
Women's soccer coach. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But maybe like I'm sure the ECU's men's basketball stadium is probably maybe a little bit bigger than Reynolds Coliseum. Maybe. Like
maybe.
It's pretty teeny tiny. And they're absolute afterthought, and it's really sad. So but anyway, though, so want to talk a little bit of basketball here. Speaking of, though, with NC State men's basketball falling to Kansas, Greg, I mean, it's I feel like that, unfortunately, the problem for State right now is in terms of NCAA resume. It's like, man, the opportunities are just falling very quickly.
Well, out of conference for sure. We have one more out of conference game against Rider on Sunday, and that's not going to be anything that moves the needle as far as the net goes. Especially when you lose to Comp. When you beat Compton by only 10 and you drop 20 in the net. That's you just can't do those types of things. And I still hate the net. Like you get penalized for you get penalized for winning games, and you drop. The point is to win games. But I get it. That's the metric. It is what it is.
Yep.
We're gonna potentially look back if we don't somehow make it in the tournament at like that Texas game where you couldn't go hit free throws, and that could potentially cost you. Because I know we don't have any quote unquote bad losses, but that Texas loss in our eyes and in our mind, that's a bad loss because that was the one you had at home. The other ones were either on neutral or away. And that you should have won. Like you had the game.
Yeah, and it's when you were winning. You left like the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So not like, not as in a bad team you lost to, but as in a missed opportunity, bad loss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, there's opportunity in the ACC, but
see, your margin
like
going this
perspective.
Way,
yeah.
I think we need a top 5 finish minimum.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't think this league is going to get more than 5 to 6 teams.
No. Yeah, I mean, you got Duke, Carolina, Clemson, maybe Louisville, Pitt, maybe. But that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, that also works in our favor. That outside of Duke, there's really no dominating teams like there usually is in the ACC. I think everybody is pretty beatable.
especially
heck no.
Virginia, right? Like, and I know we've had some moderate success with Virginia over the last couple of years, but that's a game where you go into JPJ and you could go win, and that's in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Some of these games don't look as daunting as they have in past years.
Yeah. Right.
Very true. Yeah. And we'll talk about some more coaching changes within the ACC here recently as well. But yeah, I mean, I think for Kansas, I mean, you knew going into it, you were going to face the wrath of Hunter Dickinson, especially with our roster. You don't have a DJ Burns, a physical force that can keep up with a guy that's 7'2", 265 pounds. Like that's a monster of a man. So definitely, just it was really kind of outside of that. I think we had to have big games from guys like Styles, like Jaden Taylor, even an O'Connell, Marcus Hill. And I mean, Marcus just, again, 3 for 11, 10 points. Michael O'Connell, 1 for 6, 2 points. Styles, 3 for 10, 8 points. Like that's really where the game was missed.
Well,
because I think we did a good job. Well, we did do a good job of getting Dickinson in foul trouble, and he wasn't much of a factor in the first half, and then was able to play most of the second half. And that, it's just he's so unique. Like they can just play him through the post, like kind of like we did with DJ Burns last year. I mean, obviously different games, but being like a point center, like you can dump it into him and kind of run the offense through him. He can kick it out or finish over people.
Yep. So go ahead, Greg.
No, I just had something that was kind of interesting. So talking with one of the players after the game, they were talking about where they struggled at, and they had DeJuan Harris as a non-shooting, non-factor person in the game, and he goes out and hits 3-3-pointers. Yeah, and so they had to change their philosophy on the screens. They were going under, but then they decided to go over the screens, and then they started lobbying it in to the post. Yeah. And that was having problems. So they had a game plan. Kansas executed theirs better than ours. The couple of things that I wanted to also say is Kansas moved the ball really well. They had a bunch of assists on made baskets. It kind of reminded me, and I know I said I used a Hoosiers reference earlier, but I'll use it again. It's if you've watched the movie Hoosiers, Gene Hackman's character was like, I want 5 passes, and it felt like that was exactly what Kansas was doing. They would give the one extra pass, especially Dickinson out of the post. He was passing really well out of the post, and they would kick it again, and then open shot 3. That was one of the things. And then 2 other points I wanted to make. And conversely, we did not have a lot of assists off made baskets, and we had a lot of dribble drop-off passes. We really struggled, especially early in the game. We just felt tentative, like no one really wanted to take the shot. That was one of the things. And then lastly, every time we got it down to 7 points, they wouldn't hit a 3 and pushed it back to 10. Like that 7 point.
It was 7. It never got to 6. It was like 7 3 different times.
Yeah, and it was at 8 a couple of times. We just could never get past that 7 point mark. And I felt, man, if we could just get past that, if we got past that, we could give ourselves a chance. And we couldn't. And then lastly, go ahead, Michael. I've been talking for a minute.
You just gotta figure out the slow starts. I mean, right after the 15-0 start, game was even. Right? Yep, you just got to figure that out. And I think a lot of that starts with O'Connell. I mean, he's just clearly struggling.
Jaden Taylor a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I love those dudes. Those dudes, are great, awesome. We don't get to the Final Four without them last year, but it just feels like, they're pressing a little bit. They're trying to do a little too much, and it's just not enough. I like the double combo of Hayden Highfield. Is that right? Hayden Hatfield. I was trying to say.
Hatfield,
I was trying to go and wrestling.
Hatfield,
yeah. I liked him and Middlebrooks playing together. I thought they were a really nice combo. I know that's not Keats's his style. He likes the guard play, but maybe if the guard play is not working, go to something else. And I like the energy Breon brought. He came out and made a couple of threes. I don't know. Maybe give some of those guys some more runs. I did find out something interesting, like what Dennis Parker Jr. was dealing with. He's been dealing with sprained ankles all year. He's had 3 sprained ankles, and so they had to get him some new shoes.
Terrible, man.
Yeah. So that's some of the what you haven't seen with him. But like now that he's starting to maybe get back into the groove, maybe some more of him. I don't know what it is, but I do know we're going to need Jaden and MOC. I don't know. Maybe just give someone else. Maybe not have to give them so many more minutes.
Yeah. No, agreed.
And
just trying, just like Michelle was saying, just trying to help with the slow starts. Like, just try something different, see if it works. Like unfortunately, that's how we got to what we found successful last year, was trying different things until something worked, and we found the magic sauce. Now we're going to stick with it, but let's not wait until the ACC tournament to figure it out this time. That's my only ask. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the guards between MOC and Breon and Trey Parker. I think Trey Parker's giving you some good minutes. But he struggles on defense like a lot. Like he can do pretty much everything Keats wants in a point guard offensively, but on defense he just gets lost all the time. I mean, they started him against, I think it was BYU, and they kind of started off hot too, and it was like 3 of the first couple threes were because he was out of position on defense. So
yeah,
he's just got to bring that along, and yeah, they just got to figure out the right combo.
And that's a good point on Trey Parker, because I know on like 2 of them he got lost and they popped threes, and he lost his man in traffic, or he didn't run the right whatever. But you're gonna get that. I mean, he's a freshman, so you're gonna take the same things we said about CJ Bailey. You're gonna kind of get with Trey Parker too, right? And this is only his 11th game in college basketball, so he's gonna get better.
It's our first true road game. It's our first actual road game.
Good point, Carson. Real good point.
Offensively, though, man, he looks really good running the pick and roll. He can pass it. He's got the athleticism to get to the basket. Yeah.
No,
I thought Styles had another okay game. No, he only had 8. Who was I looking at? Oh, it was Marcus Hill. Marcus Hill still ended up with 10 points. It was a quiet 10. Yeah, it gets to the line. And then I know I saw Michelle in there earlier in the chat. Like, the free throw shooting is just abysmal. It's just
what they're doing.
It's not good. I think we were probably right around 68%, 69% on Saturday. 66.7, and that seems to be the norm.
Again, it's and again, because like for me, free throws is just like taking care of the football. It's mentality, it's really all it is, and so just taking care of business. There's nobody guarding you. It's literally just you and the basket. That's all it is. So just get it in the basket.
Yeah, and just real quick, I'm pulling up the stats. 19 assists to 9 assists. That goes back to what I was saying about them passing the ball really well on their made baskets, and then the points in the paint and fast break points. Those 2 numbers just really killed us. And lastly, 3-point percentage was basically the same. They were 1.7% better, even as well as they shot it. They did cool off in the second, and we ended up shooting 6 of 15, which is not bad. 40%. I think you take that.
I think that's kind of maybe the sweet spot for this team. I mean, obviously, we're not a great 3-point shooting team,
right?
So you don't want to throw up 33s a game, but I mean, if you can get 15, maybe 20, and shooting
8 of 9,
40% on those,
8 or 9 of 20. Yeah, I agreed. But I think, and we could have avoided the last 6 minutes of this conversation when we said that you just can't get out to a 15-0 deficit and expect to climb back out of that most nights. Not against the top 10 who had been number 1 for most of the season, except for this last week. You just on their court, you're just a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely, 100%.
We had some drama in the last series where if we made the basket, we would have covered the spread. But we didn't cover the spread.
I know.
Am I bringing up a sore spot for you, Michael? Did you?
Maybe not.
Close.
Yeah.
So close.
All right, y'all. Let's jump on Ocean Tweets of the Week here real quick. Man, speaking of doozy of news, man, we got a doozy of a piece of news today as Dave Clawson, Wake Forest football coach of 11 years, has decided to step down, not step away, step down from being the head coach to being a quote-unquote advisory role. And for me, again, I mean, we obviously haven't heard anything yet from him in terms of reasoning or anything like that whatsoever, but I mean, I can't help but think that it's just like, because I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine earlier about, like, it's just college football is a completely different beast now.
Yeah,
like it is the biggest. It's in my opinion, I think it's one of the sports to coach right now in all of sports, just because
absolutely
of the fact that every single player is on a 1-year contract, and they all are in development eras. They are all young adults, so there has to be a sense of, yes, professionalism, but also to understanding of that these guys are still developing. These guys are also trying to get a degree. These guys aren't there just to play football. These guys are also there to get an education as well.
Right.
Good one, Greg. But yeah, I mean, but again, it's just like there's so many different pieces to it. And also how the fact that the money is not coming from an owner. The money is coming from fans, boosters, coming from the school itself. Like it's just like it is a completely different beast. And I honestly do think that a lot of it has to do with Dave Clawson just being like, you know what, this isn't for me. I at least that's I would not be surprised at that.
Timing's weird.
Timing's weird.
Yeah,
very weird.
Well, yeah.
Other than you've secured your early signing, right? But the portal is going on. Yeah, you would think maybe he waits to let the portal finish out, and then maybe after the first of the year he calls it just to get secure the class. He is 4 years older than Doran. I didn't realize he was 4. I thought he was almost the same age or younger.
No, I didn't know that either.
He looks younger. But he's 57 years old. To your point, Leighton, it's just different. Like, that's what surprises me about Belichick coming into this era, other than it feels more like an NFL era. So maybe that, maybe that's why he goes that route, because you're seeing the older coaches getting out of the business now, right? From basketball with Boeheim, Williams, and Kay, and then Saban
and Bennett,
Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett. Thank you. So you're starting to see these successful older coaches getting out of the business, even though they're not that old, because it is so much different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just it's a completely different beast. So that's why I'm saying, Bill Belichick, are you really wanting to deal with this for 3 years? Like, I don't know, man.
I mean, you're 72. No, you're 72.
Again,
you've made all the money. You got a 25-year-old hot girlfriend. Why would you want?
Like, again, I'm not,
differently.
I can't see the future necessarily, but I can go and write the future for you. Guaranteed, 6 months from now, somebody's gonna get fired or something or whatever. There's gonna be an opportunity to go to the NFL, and Bill Belichick's gonna take the first ticket.
I don't think there is, though. I don't think you saw him spending a lot of time around the college game, especially with his son at Washington. And I know we're going back to Belichick again, but I think he realizes that the NFL has passed him. Like, the old coach in the NFL is not really a thing anymore. You're seeing these young coaches in the NFL with, like the Dolphins, and McVay was the youngest for a while. And you've got McDermott, he's pretty young. Like, it's a young game now in NFL coaching.
True. I very much agree with that. So so we'll see what happens with that in terms of who Wake Forest
I feel like they're gonna hire within.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Do you think that Wake Forest kind of settles on their football expectations, or do you think they try and go for a home run?
I think they're like pretty tapped out on their investment in football. Like, they're a small school, but I mean, for their size, I think they have a decent support financially. Like, NIL wise, they're in okay position.
Yeah, and it's weird with them too because they're a private school, so you really don't know how much money they're dealing with,
right?
Because they don't have to disclose like public schools do.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's hard to tell, but I mean they've had success. I mean, didn't they win the Orange Bowl, or did they go to? I mean, didn't they win the ACC, or did they just go to the ACC?
Yeah, Grove won in the ACC in like 05 or whatever, and then Boston took them in 2021, but they lost to Pitt.
That was the one Pitt one. That's what I was trying to. That was the one I was thinking of. But you're right, Grove did. Look, they've been to more ACC championship games than State has, so they've had some success. It's just we will hire Bill Parcells. That's pretty funny. I don't know.
But jumping into it though, one thing real quick though was some awesome pictures came out where signees Gus Ritchie and Will Wilson are wearing NC State pads and participating in the bowl practices. You got Gus Ritchie there standing beside talking to Coach and then you got Will Wilson in the green jersey throwing passes in practice. Now I want to make it clear because I'm actually not even sure.
I was thinking the same thing. I know.
Yeah. So can they play?
No,
they cannot play, but they can be at practice.
All right,
which is invaluable, right? So if we don't make a bowl game, this isn't happening right now. These are free practices for these kids.
It's really cool. Yeah,
that's a good point. And I mean, I think that it sets up beautifully, especially more for the Gus Ritchie side, because now with Joe Lee being locked in for next year, you know, take Gus Ritchie under your belt, and then and teach him, develop him, train him, and then. I mean, listen, a guy like Gus Ritchie, I mean, I've seen him play in person. He gives off, a great caliber of a tight end, and it could be an elite level tight end, in my opinion. He has it all. He has phenomenal hands, great football IQ. And
he's really good blocking and receiving. Like, he is a full dual threat.
He's exactly what you want, for the tight end.
Well, and I think that's the one thing too that's been missing in this offense. Like, who the blocking tight ends are, and who the receiving tight ends. Like, you're really limited when you have certain personnel in there. What likely is going to be the play call?
Yep, that's a good point. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens with it. But in other news, another piece of crazy news as well.
Blindsided.
Yeah, is. Lucas Labe deciding to step away from the program. And it's odd that I think it's even more odd the fact that Megan Wargo Kearney, who was the associate head coach under Lucas Labe, took over. Like,
right
it'd be
away.
one thing, huh?
It was right away. It's like, thank you, coach, for your time. Welcome your new coach. It wasn't even.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's weird because, again, like, if Luca was stepping away to go take another job or something like that, you would think that maybe Megan might go with him. But the fact that, just like you said, Greg, like, it was like, okay, thanks, coach, and then here's your new coach.
Yeah,
I don't know, very odd, very weird, for sure.
Yeah, from what I've heard from reliable sources, Coach Slava, he's getting out of volleyball altogether.
Wow, and he's young too.
Yeah.
So that's surprising, but. Well, again, we haven't heard, but again, definitely, Coach Slave definitely obviously appreciate all that he's done. Again, bringing in-state volleyball to, the best area that it's been in its program's history, and now setting it up hopefully for success under Coach Megan. I mean, I believe that again, I mean that Megan's been in those. Conversations that she obviously knows the players inside and out. They trust him, know her. So
continuity.
There's continuity, and I think that I think this should be a picking right back up where we left off situation. So,
Carson, what have you heard? Because I know you follow volleyball with the technician and everything. What did this catch you by surprise?
It caught me by surprise at first, but looking back at it, I figured. Looking at Luca, he's coached Olympics and whatnot. So I think that, like, right after he gets into the NCAA tournament, like, the second that they're out, all of a sudden he has to think about transfer portal, NIL. And I don't think he wants to deal with that.
See, there we go again. Yeah.
There's probably some truth to that.
Wash, rinse, repeat. But yeah, completely understand it. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that for sure.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
the reason I said what I said is I know he's got a young. I was told he has a young family, and so it's kind of to what Carson was alluding to. It's a lot of extra work and heartache. These men and women, they're coaches, right? They don't want to get into all the extra grit and grime that they have to deal with, and it's just adding extra time, right, to their schedules in order to maintain their teams, in order to be able to just go out and coach them for the very short window that they have during a season. You spend more time on doing the other stuff than you really do teaching and coaching and then playing games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll see what happens with it. But again, very crazy news, especially for us, since I feel like it was almost a weekly thing, like insert clip of Tuffy Talk hyping up NC State volleyball here. Like that's pretty much us for the last couple months. So Carson, any final thoughts on volleyball before we move on here?
No, but excited to see what the future holds under Coach Megan.
Yeah. Now moving on here to another what the heck, which was NC State women's volleyball. Yeah, did not expect that on the bingo card for sure. Yeah, NC State women's basketball absolutely whooping on Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky by 30 points, 72-42.
And never was really close.
And was never close. No,
this was like a reverse Kansas game for the men. Like the women went out and were up. I think they were up like 10-0 before Louisville even scored.
Yeah, no, this was a donkey stomp all day long here for sure. But still, for me though, I feel like that if we face a team that doesn't have a dominant center, we have a very good chance of winning. But if the team we do face has a dominant center, that's where we're going to struggle all day.
So Louisville does have a really good center. We just got her in foul trouble early, and she never really was a factor until the game was out of control.
True. That's good. That's a good add-on. That's a good point. Yeah. No, but again, hey, listen, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I'm not complaining here, but I'm just looking at obviously between Mallory, Tilda, and Owu and being like, once again, we're just not really getting that, that solidified spot at the center position. We're just not getting it. So I don't know, but
but if you add up we got 10 points from the center position. They only had 8.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, but just like you said, but a lot of that is because of the fact that their main center got in foul trouble. So,
but you have to give the team as a whole credit for that. Like,
sure, I'm giving the team credit, but I'm just unfortunately, again, one thing we learned, Greg, from the Final Four game last year is how if we want to get to that place that we want to get to, we got to have help at that center spot. Even though you may have all the guards in the world, at the end of the day, you have to have that.
Yeah, I mean, Trigger, she had 10 rebounds. I mean, that's a good number.
Yep. No, I love Trigger. I'm like Trigger Owu, one of those guys, one of those girls. Just stick with them, pick them, and stick with them.
Well, Owu only had 3 minutes.
So. I know.
Between the two of them, they have the most upside.
Yes.
And like I think Tilda would be a great more power forward than center.
Yes,
but
agreed.
Yeah,
she's a stretch.
She's a stretch. I agree.
She's a male version of a Euro player who plays tall but plays like a guard.
Yeah. No, agreed.
Sort of like Sabonis.
Yes.
It's Sabonis. I like that. That's a great comparison.
Really good.
So, but again, love what we saw. Again, the guard play was phenomenal. Obviously, say the least. Zamaria Jones.
Jones, come on now.
Just continues to shine. I'm telling you again, Greg. We had that conversation. What was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? Being like, where's Z Jones gonna stand on the all-time greats? And I mean,
she's already the leading. I mean, I don't know. I can't say she is, but I feel like I haven't really paid attention to the other freshmen in the league, so maybe I'll go look through those. But she's looking at ACC freshman of the year at this point. Like she's
gonna be up there.
So good. Yeah, she's been so good. And she's coming off the bench. She's literally Zoe Brooks of last year, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah. which is crazy because I mean,
Zoe had a great
year last year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I mean, she's
Yeah.
Zoe Brooks 2.0, and I love how we keep stacking these point guards like we have been. Just so like, whew, like it's so good. And then like Sanaya had a really great game, 14 points, 13 rebounds. That's all day. I'll take that from Sanaya Rivers. That's I don't need her scoring 20, but if she's getting 15 and 10, something like that, so good.
Yeah.
And we shot the ball like so good, 7 of 19, which is
so
a much
good.
better number, which is much better because
So
we've been
good.
shooting in the low 30s. Now that's not Tennessee women's 3-point numbers, but
No.
did you see that?
What was that? I heard. What was that?
They scored like 159 points or something, or 139.
Yeah, they scored 139. They beat North Carolina Central 139 to 59. So beat them by 80. And then they broke the NCAA record for most 3-pointers in a game. I think they hit 31 or 33.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I think I just saw this on Twitter. Was this Louisville game a non-conference game?
No, it was a conference game.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a room. Someone had put that on Twitter, and I'm like, that wasn't right.
No, we're just playing James Madison in between.
Yeah, it was the Jimmy V Classic, so I think that's what threw people off that it wasn't an ACC game, but it wasn't an ACC game.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
gotcha.
Good, thank goodness. Yeah. So again, I mean,
in fact, I'm looking at the standings right here. It says State 1-0 in the conference. So
1-0.
Yeah,
1-0.
By the way, did anyone see what Georgia Tech's been doing on the women's side?
Yeah.
See, in my technician, I wrote the schedule preview for the women for our basketball issue, and I said, hey, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Stanford, they're not ranked right now, but watch out for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, Georgia Tech's delivered.
Yeah, they're 13-0 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and they gave us a big scare in Reynolds last year.
They sure did. Yeah, we had in fact, I remember watching that game. I was in Hawaii watching that game, and I was like, "Are we going to lose this thing?" And then they ended up pulling it, holding on and pulling it out. But it was definitely a sketch there for a few minutes.
Yeah. No, definitely. Again, it's ACC is going to be really tough. I already bought my tickets for the ACC basketball tournament, but it's going to be a doozy. There is a lot of good teams this year in the ACC. A lot of them.
I know it's really, really early, and I haven't even looked at the. Does everyone make the ACC basketball tournament, or
is that changing? Yeah, is that changing?
I don't even know.
This year?
Yeah, I don't even know
because they added the 3 new teams. I remember hearing like some discussion about that, but I don't know if that's actually a thing.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Well,
anyway, I know it's way early. That just reminded me. I'm like,
nope, the top 15 are going to qualify,
and there's 18 now, right?
Yeah,
there's 18.
Yeah, it just says the top 15 teams in the 18-team league will qualify for the 2025 men's and women's basketball tournaments. The bottom 3 teams in the conference standings will be left out.
Wow,
the 3 is so weird. Like,
because of the
why not just do 16? Why not just do 16?
Yeah, why not make it 16? It makes the bracket easy.
Well, because
or do 12. If you do 12, you can just do an easy 4 double bye. But
yeah, but then you're really cutting it down. Like I think 15. Yeah, or well, I guess they wanted to keep it at 15 because that's what we were before. But
that's what I've been doing for a decade now.
Yeah,
they want the top teams to have the advantage of having buys.
The bye, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, especially for me because I always loved going on Fridays because that's the first day that the top 4 seeds play. And
who needs buys? Just win 5 in 5 games.
Yeah.
Who needs buys?
Yeah. No, but hey,
easy.
I mean, but see, though, Greg, the problem for me though is that for me as a guy that I take the Friday off and I go to all 4 games because it's an easy decision because that's the only day where there's 4 games. And it's the top 4 seeds that play. So it's easy for me to decide where to go.
Yeah.
Now, if they're playing games before that, now I have to decide between Thursday or Friday which one I'm going to go to. And, and it's just no fun, man. But
no, I get you.
It's going to be awesome.
No, you're right, though. That's a great day to be a basketball fan. Just sit there and just consume basketball for 12 hours.
Well, especially Greensboro Coliseum. Like, I'm telling you,
the tournament should never be there. Tournament should never be there.
Should never be there?
Should never be in Greensboro. Should never be
What?
in Greensboro.
I
I'm
love it. It's
I'm just
great.
quoting Jim Boeheim.
I know.
Oh,
I'm a biggest hater, but I'm telling you,
He
man,
was
it
the
is
biggest hater, bro.
such a great spot, man.
It
It
is.
really is.
Yeah, it is.
But wrapping it up though, one of the biggest pieces of news that we had kind of hinted at earlier is women's basketball,
Soccer.
women's soccer. Thank you, appreciate it, Carson. Just talking basketball. Women's soccer. Yeah, no. Westmore ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
Breaking news.
Rewind.
Women's soccer finally going different routes and bringing in Gary Higgins from ECU. And the saying goes, if you can't beat them, get them. Not
Take
join
their
them,
coach.
but take their coach. Yeah, if you can't beat them, take their coach. That's basically what State did. That's what Boot Corrigan pulled, and I like it. Again, I mean, obviously us at Tuffy Talk, we're always, going to be the glass half full people, and we're never, we're really going to be careful, especially when it comes to the non-revenue schools. But I mean, we're sorry, revenue sports. God, man, I'm freaking tired, dude.
It's Monday, bro.
It's Monday. I know.
It's that Santa hat.
This is the Santa hat. I know.
Not getting any
seriously.
air to that.
I know, not getting any airs to the head.
But-
Oh, anyway. So Carson, tell us about Gary, man.
Yeah, I need to do some more research on him, but coach at ECU led them to their first ever tournament appearance. They won the what conference are they in? The American.
AAC.
American.
Yeah, American.
I always have the fact that ECU's in Conference USA in my head for some reason.
Yeah, they used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see what he can do. ACC women's soccer is a complete gauntlet. So
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Final Four this year. You got Carolina, Duke, Wake, and Stanford. Then you have Florida State, Virginia. Virginia Tech's pretty decent. Clemson's usually pretty decent. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. It's usually pretty good. So it's an absolute gauntlet right now.
Well, and like we were talking about for volleyball, right? The ACC has 2 of the Final 4 teams in volleyball right now, so that's a gauntlet as well. Adding those 3 schools have really picked up the overall aspect of the league in non-revenue sport, Olympic sports.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think because it's kind of funny though, because I feel like for the non-revenue sports, I feel like it's almost a common trend for the ACC sports that the ACC is a gauntlet.
Yeah,
like softball,
especially
wrestling, baseball.
adding these new guys like Stanford and Cal and SMU, like Stanford,
soccer.
More specifically, they're just like great
every
at
one of them.
sport.
Well, I mean, they play
gauntlet.
41 sports, and that's not even hyperbole. Like they literally play every sport.
Right. No, absolutely. But I mean, obviously with football and men's basketball more this year, it's not really the case. So,
And did you guys see where, and I don't know if this is for the full season or just a special game, but Stanford women are playing softball in Cardinal Stadium, which is the football stadium. Has anyone saw
what?
that? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Stanford softball
right.
team, the Stanford softball team is playing in Cardinal Stadium, which is their football stadium.
Their football team stadium.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's a special
That is
game
cool.
or if the whole season, if they're doing renovations on their stadium, but
Oh,
I saw a
maybe.
tweet. Yeah, I saw a tweet from Stanford softball the other day, and I was like, "What?" So I didn't do the full research, but they're playing at least one game in their football stadium.
For a school that plays 41 sports, their facilities are terrible.
Well, they don't have, they are
No,
I
I had their soccer game on when they were playing our men's team. I think it was it was our men's team when we were playing at Stanford, and their soccer stadium looked like a small middle school football stadium. I'm not lying.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy.
I guess they take all that money and just put it into other things. I don't even know.
Well, and it's interesting because so I am curious here, and I'm interested. Let us know in the comments what y'all think as well. But what is it that makes Stanford so dominant though?
It's California, bro.
California, bro.
California.
Okay.
It's a good.
It's a state where they can play outdoor sports all year long. That's why you see Florida so dominant in outdoor sports. Go ahead, Carson.
It's like Duke, but they don't have Vanderbilt to compete with on the West Coast, and so they're pretty much their only thing on the West Coast.
Yeah, they're essentially the Ivy League school of the West.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's one of those schools too where just because using the Duke analogy, you still have to make the grades to get into the school. Like they don't have exemptions for athletes. You still have to qualify as a regular student, which is even more impressive how they're able to get such great athletic talent. But I think, to Carson's point, there's not a lot of competition out there, so the kids don't have to go across country. They can pretty much go to just that one school.
That's a good point. Yeah, fair analysis. Appreciate it. All right, so I think that'll wrap it up here for us tonight. Guys, any other final thoughts here before we wrap it up?
Nope. Got just a couple. Very light schedule this week for sports. I know the women have a game this week. Carson had mentioned James Madison, and then the men play on Sunday. And then we have wrestling on Friday at Cornell, number 11 in the country.
Yep.
But that's it for athletics this week because we're down to winter break, and it's going to be a little bit slow for the next couple of weeks for So
that pretty much all wraps it up. But for us, y'all, we will not be having and I'm kind of making the call here, but I mean, unless the guys here want to immediately overrule me, but being that next week is December 23rd, I'm going to be away on holiday. So are we in agreement, guys? And maybe next week might be some time to enjoy his time with family instead of talking into state sports. I know Greg. I
don't like my family.
Well,
my family doesn't like me because I went to Kansas this past week, and I will say that much.
I love it.
Thank you, Preacher Man. Sunday,
we're gonna be traveling too.
Yeah, no, let's take a break and if nothing else, enjoy the downtime. And
indeed,
if you don't like your family, then you can still call me, and then we can have a talk.
There we go. But either way, though, definitely excited though for this Military Bowl game, December 28th, 5:45 p.m. kickoff in Annapolis, Maryland. So hopefully you're able to make it.
Maybe we should have the Boneyard on.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, if we're not gonna do a show next week, then we need to give our predictions because it'll be.
Let's do a recording this week. I think we can get a recording in later this week.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Tease.
Yeah, a little tease there. I like it. All right, Wolfpack Nation. With that being said, we're going to wrap things up here for tonight. Again, make sure you haven't already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure to give us a follow. Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or iHeart Podcast, wherever you listen to it, make sure to leave us a 5-star review as well. We greatly appreciate that. But with that being said, we'll see y'all soon, and we'll go ahead and say it. BDCU all day long. Walk the plank, whatever it may be. And as always, go back, y'all.
Walk the plank.